There's a particular kind of photo that doesn't need a caption to say everything. No red carpet. No studio lighting. Just two people decades into a marriage, still choosing to let the world in on something small and unguarded. That's what happened when Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos shared another one of their now famous bedroom selfies. And once again the internet couldn't look away. At first glance it seems like nothing. A couple, a bed, a phone held up at an angle. But if you've followed Kelly and Mark for any length of time, you already know this isn't just a photo. It's a pattern. It's a language they've been speaking to their audience for years, and every time they speak it, people respond like it's the first time all over again. So the real question isn't, why did fans go wild? The real question is, why does a simple bedroom selfie from a couple in their 50s still manage to feel like an event? Let's start with what actually makes this moment land. Kelly and Mark have built an entire public identity around a very specific kind of honesty. The honesty of two people who are still visibly, unmistakably into each other after nearly 30 years of marriage. In an entertainment landscape full of curated perfection, where celebrity couples often feel more like brands than people, Kelly and Mark do something almost rebellious. They let themselves look silly. They let themselves look affectionate. They let themselves look like a couple who still flirts, still teases, still can't quite believe their luck. That's not an accident. It's a choice they've made consistently, across years of morning television, red carpet interviews, and social media posts. And it's why a bedroom selfie doesn't read as oversharing to their audience. It reads as an invitation. Viewers aren't voyeurs peeking into someone else's private life. They're being handed a small piece of a relationship they've been emotionally invested in for a very long time. Think about what it actually takes to post something like that. There's a vulnerability in it that a lot of public figures avoid entirely. Most celebrities protect the image of the put-together couple. Matching smiles, professional photography, distance between the public self and the private self. Kelly and Mark have never really operated that way. They've built their entire brand on collapsing that distance. And every time they do it again, they're reinforcing the thing their fans love most about them. They don't perform closeness. They just have it and they let you watch. There's also something worth noticing in how quickly people online start narrating the moment for them. Comment sections fill up almost instantly with playful teasing, mock scandal, and the kind of affectionate ribbing usually reserved for friends. Some fans joke about what their kids must think. Others jump straight to admiration for Mark, still turning heads decades into his career. And plenty simply sit in the warmth of it, a reminder that long marriages can still look like this, can still feel like this, if two people keep choosing each other on purpose. That detail matters more than it seems. A huge portion of the emotional reaction to these moments has nothing to do with celebrity gossip at all. It has to do with hope. Audiences carry their own relationships into how they watch someone else's. When people see two public figures who are visibly still enjoying each other after this many years, it becomes less about Kelly and Mark specifically and more about the possibility their relationship represents. It becomes proof of concept. If love can still look playful and unguarded this far into a marriage, then maybe long-term partnership doesn't have to mean the fading of chemistry. Maybe it can mean the opposite. It's also worth pausing on the family dynamic that almost always gets pulled into these moments. Kelly has been open for years about the fact that her children, now adults, have very complicated feelings about their parents' public affection. There's a running joke, one the whole family seems to be in on, about their kids being mortified by how openly Kelly and Mark show they're still attracted to each other. And every time a new bedroom photo surfaces, some fans immediately jump straight to imagining that reaction. It has become its own subplot in the larger story, not gossip, but a kind of shared inside joke between the couple and their audience. That's a fascinating layer of parasocial connection if you really sit with it. Fans aren't just reacting to Kelly and Mark anymore. They're reacting on behalf of Lola, Michael, and Joaquin. They've absorbed the family's internal dynamics so completely that they instinctively know how to play along with it. That's not something you get from a single viral photo. That's something built slowly over years of interviews, morning show banter, and social media posts that all reinforce the same portrait of a family that teases each other because they love each other. There's a television chemistry piece to this too, one that's easy to overlook if you're not paying close attention. Kelly and Mark didn't become a hosting duo out of nowhere. Their comfort with each other on camera, the interruptions, the eye rolls, the way one finishes the other's sentence, didn't start when they sat behind a talk show desk together. It started decades earlier, on set, in real life, as two actors who fell for each other while playing characters who were falling for each other. That origin story matters, because it means their public chemistry was never manufactured for television. Television simply gave audiences a front row seat to something that was already real. So when a private moment like a bedroom selfie surfaces, it doesn't feel disconnected from everything else people know about them. Feels like confirmation. The playful morning show energy, the teasing interviews, the affectionate jabs, all of it suddenly has a private counterpart. Fans get to see that the version of Kelly and Mark they enjoy on screen isn't a performance being switched on for cameras. It's simply who they are, extended into their actual home. There's something else worth naming here, something a little more tender underneath all the humor and headlines. Long-term intimacy is hard to communicate publicly without it feeling either staged or invasive. Kelly and Mark seem to have found a rare middle ground. Moments that feel personal without feeling exploitative, playful without feeling performative. That balance is difficult to strike, and it's part of why their relationship content lands so differently than a lot of other celebrity couples does. It doesn't feel like a brand strategy. It feels like two people who genuinely enjoy each other, occasionally remembering that other people are watching, and deciding to let them watch anyway. It's easy to reduce a moment like this to a single headline, fans go wild, and move on. But headlines rarely capture what's actually happening underneath audience reactions like this one. What's happening is recognition. People see something in Kelly and Mark's relationship that reminds them of what they want for themselves, or what they already have, or what they lost and miss. A bedroom selfie becomes a mirror. And that's a much more interesting thing to sit with than simple viral buzz. There's also a quieter commentary buried in all of this about aging, attraction, and what long marriages are supposed to look like publicly. Culturally, there's often an unspoken expectation that once a couple hits a certain number of years together, especially once their kids are grown, the visible spark is expected to fade from the public narrative, replaced by something more subdued, more domestic, less playful. Kelly and Mark have quietly pushed back against that expectation for years, without ever framing it as some grand statement. They're not trying to prove anything. They're simply living the way they live, and audiences keep noticing. That's perhaps the most human part of this whole story. Kelly and Mark aren't chasing a viral moment. The virality is a byproduct of consistency, of two people who have shown up as themselves again and again for long enough that even the smallest glimpse into their life carries emotional weight. A single bedroom selfie wouldn't mean much from a couple audiences didn't already feel like they knew. From Kelly and Mark, it means something because it's one more chapter in a story people have been quietly rooting for since All My Children. Perhaps the reason so many people remain invested in Kelly and Mark isn't simply because they've spent decades in the spotlight. It's because audiences continue to see something genuine in the way they navigate life together. The teasing, the affection, the willingness to let people in on the small stuff, even the family jokes at their own expense. All of it adds up to something that feels increasingly rare in public life. A couple who seem to actually like each other still after all this time. And maybe that's why moments like this stay with viewers long after the cameras stop rolling. So here's the real question worth sitting with, not what you think of the photo itself but what it stirred up in you. Did it make you smile? Did it remind you of someone? Did it make you think about your own relationship, past or present, and what you hope it still looks like decades in? Drop your thoughts below, share your favorite Kelly and Mark moment, and let's talk about what it really means when two people choose again and again to let love look this unguarded in public.